Hi, it's me again. I am doing something a bit different today. Um, I never know how to start these. I watched my other ones back, which was like the cringiest thing ever. And I'm okay once I get going. It's just knowing how to start them. And I mean, this time I think there's people I know that are going to be watching. I know there's people that are going to be watching later. And I was thinking about this, and I honestly think I would rather talk to 1,000 people I don't know than a few people that I do know. It makes me a bit nervous. I don't know why, but I really wanted to do this today because I've been meaning to find a way of talking about employment when you have a chronic illness. And I was trying to figure out the best way of going about that. And I think a live stream's the ideal way to do it, really, because I can just sit down. I've got a few notes, but we'll just see how we go. My usual disclaimer that this does not come naturally to me. I much prefer blogging to speaking, but I'm trying to get better at it because it is the ideal platform for this kind of thing. So thank you for bearing with me. Thank you if you're watching this later on, because I know I probably, on reflection, didn't pick the best time to do it for me or other people with a chronic illness in the UK. I have like my top and my makeup on, but I literally have my pajamas on. I've got like my microwave piggy. So, and my brain's still waking up, still getting into gear. So, we'll see how we go. Okay, so to give you a bit of introduction about me and my employment experiences, I'm Pippa, and you probably know about me if you follow me on Instagram or you've seen any other broadcasts, so I won't go too much into it. But basically, I went to uni in 2013. I studied psychology and I graduated in 2016. And it was during that time that my chronic illness kind of really went downhill, and that's when I kind of started identifying as disabled. That's kind of when everything in my life shifted during that time. And after I graduated, I was so convinced that I wouldn't find a job that was suitable for me that I actually chose to do a master's degree online, a 2 year master's degree in health psychology, which is something I'm really interested in. And I did really enjoy the course content, but ultimately I decided not to continue with the course because it was a bit of a shambles, to be honest. It was a lot of money for what it was. Not a very good experience. So after a year, I decided not to continue with my master's degree. And it was then that I started thinking about employment properly, because here I was in this position, and I'm sure I can't be the only one in this position, where I'm not ill enough to not work and claim benefits, but I'm not well enough to work in a typical occupation full time. I'm in the middle. I'm in the weird in between zone. So I knew that really what I needed realistically was a working from home job with part-time flexible hours. That's what I knew I needed, but I just didn't know where to find that. I didn't know if such a thing existed. There didn't seem to be anyone talking about it. And this is the thing I've found since. Now there are people talking about it, and I count myself in this. There are people talking about it, but their own experiences as opposed to actual practical tips and advice for finding that kind of opportunity in the first place. So where am I going with this? What I hope to do here is to give you kind of a few pointers as to where to look if you're in a very similar situation to what I was in. A few pointers, a few like practical places to go, things to try, and also hopefully there should be a post going up on my blog scheduled for 10:15 that'll have all the links in, everything written down, and that's a post that I hope to continue adding to because I'm sure there's things I've missed off it. And if you know of any schemes or opportunities that you think would be worth adding in, if you think they would be of benefit to someone, I'd really appreciate it if you could let me know, so we can hopefully try and create a resource that will be everything that people need in one place. That's the ultimate goal. It's definitely not there yet. I was putting it together on Thursday, like, I'm on a time crunch. Story of my life. But anyway, so yeah, like a bit of context. I'm both employed and self-employed. So I do 18 hours a week in employment, and that's a flexible working from home job for a UK disability charity, which I absolutely love. It's great. And then, so I split 18 hours over 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then the rest of the time I take on more flexible, self-employed work. And that depends on my health. It depends very much on my health and how I'm doing. And that the nature of that work is kind of freelance blogging and writing. And that's something maybe I'll talk about more another time. And I also know there are people who are more qualified to talk about that than me, because I've been doing it for maybe about a year now. And I do have things to say, but I also know there are other resources which I can hopefully point you to as well. Right. And thank you for bearing with me, because I am still waking up. Okay, right. So let's have a look. What have I written down in my notes? So, okay. I have a list of organisations worth contacting, and the way I've split them up is into schemes, so actual physical schemes that are in place to try and connect people with the right jobs and opportunities for them. Mentoring, which is more kind of tailored one-to-one support and advice for people who feel they need that kind of support in looking for work. And work from home, where to actually find work from home opportunities, because I think work from home is the main adjustment that people in my situation benefit from. In my eyes anyway, that was the biggest thing for me. Like, I couldn't physically go to work in an office 5 days a week. I would, like, when I do have to physically go into work for meetings and stuff, like, I'm out of action the next day. And I'm sure that's something else people can relate to. Okay, right. I need to stop saying as well. Like, yesterday I had to interview someone at work and I had to transcribe it afterwards. And honestly, listening to your own voice back has to be the worst thing in the world. Just like, I did not realise I said so many times. I ummed and ahed. And I also said absolutely so many times. Just like, I sound like a CBeebies presenter. Okay, so schemes, right. Schemes that are in place for disabled, most of them are for disabled people generally, not specifically chronic illness, but schemes for helping disabled people into work. I have 4. First one is called Employability, and that's events and vacancies for disabled students and graduates. They're all online. Just go to the Employability website, one word. As I say, all of these will be linked in the blog post, so you don't need to worry too much about it now. Second one I wanted to talk about, probably shouldn't have put it second because it's a bit of a controversial one for me. It's called Change 100, and it's by the UK charity Leonard Cheshire, and they offer paid 3-month internships with top UK employers, which at its surface sounds really good. It's hailed as being a really inclusive scheme. Everyone was giving people claps for how inclusive it was. However, when I applied in 2016, when I was at uni, I applied as a disabled graduate. I was rejected because I couldn't work full time because of my illness. So if that's what inclusive is, then, I mean, no. So, I mean, we've had words, and I do think I should point out that since then it sounds like they've taken that on board and they are looking to implement more flexible opportunities in the future, thank goodness. I just thought it was so silly that something hailed as being so inclusive was willing to exclude somebody who couldn't work full time. So that's that. There's the tea. Oh, I can't believe I just said that. Next one's quite exciting. I discovered this quite recently. It's BBC's Extend Hub. Now, the BBC have recently made a commitment to having a more diverse workforce and specifically creating opportunities for disabled people. And I believe it's a talent disability recruitment portal on their website. You can find it at BBC Extend Hub. And I believe it covers journalism, production, technology, and business. The only one I looked into out of interest was journalism, and it does look really good. It looks really beneficial. It looks like there's lots of opportunities for networking, like developing skills, making an impression. And I think that would be a really good opportunity for someone kind of looking to kickstart a career. So that's definitely something. I mean, BBC, it's way up there. And what was the other one? The other one was something like, this is the one I'm most excited about, and yet I know the least about because I only discovered it quite recently. But it's called Astrid. And it's ASTRIID. And I discovered this through something called the Chronic Illness Inclusion Project, also something relatively new, something I can't claim to know a great deal about. But Astrid, from the looks of things, looks like a kind of recruitment portal that connects chronically ill, specifically chronically ill applicants with the right employers. And you kind of create an online profile and you can upload your CV, your LinkedIn page, anything you want. And I think from that, they create a percentage match with employers, and they try and put people in the right positions. And I liked this one a lot because you could actually specify like how many hours a week you'd be comfortable working, whether you could travel, whether you'd prefer to be based at home. So it did look quite a specific, more targeted way of going about things. So I mean, like, even if you're unsure at this minute whether work's something for you, like, it really couldn't hurt to just go on Astrid and create a profile and just see if anything comes of it, to be honest. I can't see anything wrong with that. Yeah, sounds like they're doing good work. Oh, no one's here today. Usually by now there are people here. Oh, I definitely chose to do this at the wrong time. It's not good. But people are going to watch it afterwards. I mean, I probably won't watch it afterwards. Right, mentoring. So those were kind of like schemes that were set up specifically with the intention of like getting people who are ready for work into work. However, if you're in a position where you maybe don't feel as if you're ready for work, maybe you don't feel in the strongest position to start applying for jobs, you feel like you need a bit of support in that area, there are 3 things, and they all happen to be Scope. And I'm sorry because I work for Scope, but I'm not involved with any of them, but I genuinely think they're really good and really beneficial. I think they've helped something, like, don't quote me on this, but I think since they've started, they've helped over 80,000 people into work, which is like bonkers. Oh my God, someone's here. Is someone here? Yay, Claire! Thank you. Have a friend. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Okay, I feel better now. I can talk to someone. I'll talk to Claire. It's all good. So as I was saying, yeah, mentoring, Scope's 3 programs. So there's 2 support programs that are based in London and Leeds areas. One's in Calderdale, but like generally speaking, London and Leeds areas. So there's Starting Line, which is group training and one-to-one advice over a course of 7 weeks. And there's also Kickstart, which is more tailored support, and it focuses on how you want to go about achieving your goals, and you work with an employment advisor. So they're 2 schemes that you can sign up for if you're in the area, and you can kind of have help with things like preparing for interviews, developing your CV, making sure that you're putting your best foot forward for those kind of positions. And then the other one, because like they're obviously really good and really beneficial, but if you're out of the area, or you can't necessarily leave the house in the first place because of the nature of your condition, there's also something called Support to Work. And this is a similar kind of scheme. It's support for applying for paid work, and it's over a course of 12 weeks. You create an action plan with an employment advisor, but it's all over phone and Skype. So you don't need to physically attend meetings or training sessions or things like that. You can do it in the comfort of your home. So that could be a potential more accessible way of doing it if you do have trouble leaving the house. So I thought it was good that you have like the 2 like concrete physical attending options, and then you have the more flexible kind of accessible from home opportunity as well. I thought that was really good. Yeah, so you can find details of them on Scope's website. And okay, right, let's move on to work from home, because I think this is the thing that I maybe get asked the most, like, where do you find a work from home job? And there are a few places I can recommend, a few that I've used. Depends on the nature of the work that you're looking for, I suppose, very much. But one resource that people don't often think to look on is Guardian Jobs. So the Guardian's job page. And the pro there is that you can filter by things like working from home and part-time hours. So you can filter results right down. And the good thing about those is if you have a bit of experience, they are more established roles. They are like kind of like career progression roles. So maybe not necessarily like a starting point. But they are well-paid jobs. There's lots within the charity sector, so they're really good if that's something you're looking to get into. And they are well-paid. Some of them are very well-paid, and they are work from home, part-time, flexible. You can find out all you need, apply through the website, boom, done. And similar, but a bit less established, is good old Indeed.com. So it's very similar. You can filter according to what you want. It's a general job searching website. There's a lot of junk on there. There are a lot of things that just like, really spammy adverts you need to be careful with. Things like get paid to do surveys or like be an Avon rep. And I mean, like, we're not trashing those because those are legitimate things and legitimate ways of earning an income. But if you're looking for more kind of like an established, not established, that's the wrong word, like a more solid, reliable job, then you need to be careful. But the plus side is that there do tend to be a lot more results on there. So if you have the time to go through, definitely worth looking into. Then, I mean, all of these things kind of rely on you like applying for jobs online. And I mean, like, I know that the average number of times you apply for a job versus the number of times you get a job, like, they don't equal, obviously. It's a very competitive time to be trying to get a job. So another way, not sure if everyone will agree with this, it's something that's personally worked very well for me, is approaching charities with your CV. So if you live with a specific condition, like let's hypothetically say ME, there is no harm at all in going to an ME charity, sending a really polite email, introducing yourself, saying, hello, this is a bit about me, here's my CV, I'd love to be kept in mind for any future opportunities. Nothing at all wrong with that. It's not unsolicited, and often charities are more keen to work with people who've got lived experience of the condition than people who haven't. So, and I mean, the worst thing that could happen is they could come back to you and say no. And I used to think that was the worst thing that could happen. And it's really not, because you tried. You showed initiative, you had a go. If it don't work out, it don't work out. Yeah, so there's that. And I actually wanted to tell you a bit about, I've not put this in my blog post yet actually, but the way I started, the way I got into the job I'm doing now is by starting an internship with a disability charity called Scope. It was a 3-month internship. I started this time last year, and that's what led me on to doing the job that I do now, also for Scope. Very similar job, absolutely love it. Like, I feel really happy because I think I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be right now, which is great. And I feel very lucky to be able to say that. And I know a lot of chronically ill people maybe can't say that at the minute, but hopefully that will change. We need to make that change. I'm doing what I can. Anyway, where I was going with that before I got distracted was the 3-month internship that I did this time last year. They are now recruiting for a new intern. So they are recruiting for somebody who did exactly what I did back then. And it's great. It's a brilliant internship. It's absolutely brilliant. I can't recommend it enough. It's the loveliest team. It's the best working conditions. The biggest plus to working for a disability charity is that they understand the nature of disability. They understand fluctuating chronic illnesses. They understand the need to work from home, to have flexible hours. And yeah, so it's brilliant. I can't recommend it enough. You can find details by going on Scope's vacancies page. It should be on there. It's called Online Community Intern. You're welcome to ask me questions about it, but I do think they should go through Scope, to be honest. So I'd appreciate it if you didn't direct any questions towards my personal account if you're interested in that opportunity. But if you direct them towards Scope, there's a contact email address on there, then we can answer them there. And it would be really nice to have someone it's a lovely team that are all very understanding of disability. So obviously it's an ideal opportunity for someone. I'm really excited that we can give that opportunity to someone again. So that's that. Then another thing you can do if you're looking for work from home opportunities is a site called People Per Hour. And again, this is something I only learned about quite recently. And this has benefits that the other opportunities don't, in that it's not a formal employment opportunity. People Per Hour, my understanding is anyway, because I've not used it personally, People Per Hour is where people advertise odd jobs and things they need to get done, and they offer pay for it. So if you're someone who might not necessarily feel you're able to commit to regular hours and a regular working week, but you do want to find a way of earning income, it might be worth signing up and just having a look through the opportunity, seeing anything that would be suitable for you, and then just doing like a one-time thing that earns you a bit of income. And I think that's a good way of testing the waters and finding out where you stand as well. And from what I did see when I did have a look, there's lots of social media opportunities on there. So, I mean, that's like an ideal kind of environment, kind of occupation for somebody who's chronically ill, like that kind of thing. Like, there were bloggers on there wanting people to do like their marketing stuff. Yeah, I was a bit confused by that, but it's a good opportunity for someone, so definitely worth a look, definitely worth a way of like kind of testing whether you're capable of doing more or less, because I think that's important. Before you go into any of these opportunities, you need to have a good understanding of what you can handle and what you can't. I think that's really important. Oh, right, let me have some water. If anyone is watching this and has any questions, by the way, like, feel free to like just go for it, and I'll try my best to answer. Obviously, I'm not an expert, but I do what I can. This is the other thing with just me talking. Like, I get sick of the sound of my own voice. It's been like 20 minutes. Right, okay. So the last thing I wanted to talk about was kind of how I got into like freelance work and blogging. Because this is something also, like, this time last year, I never thought I'd be sitting here saying that I do freelance writing jobs and like I get paid for blogging. That's like honestly a dream come true. And like I feel it's really important to say that was never the intention when I started my blog. I started as a theatre blogger. Like, I started writing theatre reviews, and I thought like the very best like thing that could come from that is a few free press tickets. And like the fact that I've like branched out so much and I've found like my genuine areas of interest as well as theatre, and that I can actually work with people and it's like mutually beneficial. Like, that's best thing ever. Like, can't recommend it enough. And I actually have in really big writing on my notes, like, if you're looking to get into freelance writing, start a blog. Start a blog. Like, you're not going to get paid for it straight away. Don't let that be the intention. Don't start a blog purely with the intention of getting paid, because there's no guarantee that will ever happen. But in my eyes, there's no better way to showcase your skills than putting them online for people to see. And like, really, most of my freelance opportunities have come from people who've come over after reading one of those blog posts that I've written. Like, they'll see online, they can see what I do, they can see what I write like, and then they'll send an email and get in touch. That's how most of my things come about. And I think that's how it works for most other people as well. And I think it's important to say, I remember putting this in my blog post, because I also work with bloggers in my job at Scope, and I think the most important thing if you're going down this route is to make sure that you have your contact details absolutely everywhere. There is nothing worse than finding someone who you'd like to work with and not being able to find a contact email address. So please just put it everywhere. Everywhere you possibly can. Make sure it's visible, make sure it's accessible, get your email address out there so that people can come to you with those opportunities. Don't prevent them, don't cut them off before you've even got the chance. Don't do it. So yeah, start a blog. It's just a really beneficial and worthwhile thing to do anyway. Like, it's one of the best life decisions I ever made. So, and related to that, I don't know if Jenna's watching this. She mentioned that she might, but you might know my friend Jenna Farner, and she runs a site called The Blog Lancer, and it's brilliant. I've only discovered, like, I wish I'd discovered this earlier. And that is full of useful resources on like how to make a living out of writing your blog, how to monetize, helpful tips and advice, things for working with brands. That is really well worth a read. So if you're already blogging and you feel like you're in a position where you want to start earning money, go and have a read. It's like, you won't regret it. That sounded so much like a sales pitch, and it's really not, because it's a genuinely really useful resource. So yeah, definitely worth a look. Right, yeah. And then, I mean, I think most of the... Right, no. If, on the other hand, you're not keen on the idea of starting a blog, but you do want to go into freelance writing, there's one other resource I would recommend, and this is probably the last thing I'm going to talk about today, and that is called Disabled Writers. It's an online database, and it's full of author profiles of disabled people who write for a living, who do media work, who have like a specific skill set. And employers and commissioners go on the website, they look through people's profiles, and if they find someone they like the look of, or someone who's well suited for the job that they're recruiting for, they will get in touch. And it is, I believe the founders are in the USA, and I believe it's a mostly USA oriented site. However, there are UK members on there, I'm on there, and I have had opportunities come from there. And those opportunities tend to be copywriting jobs in the UK. So if you don't know, copywriting jobs are kind of writing jobs where you're writing exactly what it says, you're writing copy for something. So for example, it could be website content. So you might be writing a product description for a retail website, and you have so many that you have to do a day, and you get paid per kind of like in that context, you get paid per description and you're expected to write so many a day or so many within a time period, and that's how you earn your money. So if that's the kind of thing that appeals to you more than blogging, then definitely worth a look at that. Definitely worth a look at, like, definitely worth getting your details on Disabled Writers. I think this is like kind of like the take-home point. Like, if you pursue all of these things and you put yourself out there and you make sure your name is down and you make sure that you're showcasing your skills in the right way, there's no harm in doing that, because you never know what's going to come from it. You never know. Yeah. I don't know whether to leave it there, because I think I've got things in the blog post that I haven't got in here actually on reflection. Like, I think there are things in the blog post, but I think I don't want to make this too long and too wordy, because I'm aware, like, if you're sitting here watching it, it might be a bit much to take in, might be a bit overwhelming. But really, I hope it's given you a starting point. I hope it's shown that there are practical and productive things you can be doing. And there are, like, because I know it's so, like, important to feel like you're being proactive. Like, you don't want to be just sat around waiting for things to come to you. But I think that is the thing with most chronically ill people. We are proactive. We know what we need to do to get things done. And I think the main thing I kind of want to say is, like, don't lose hope. Like, I know it can be so frustrating and it can feel like the world of work isn't built for us. It isn't at the minute, but know that things are changing. Even in the last year since I've been working, things are changing. Employers are starting to cotton on that they're missing out on a really massive pool of talent by not making their opportunities inclusive, and hopefully we'll continue to see more and more of these opportunities. So with that, make sure that you're ready for them. Like I said, the most important thing is to know yourself well, to know what you can and can't do. Don't overpromise things and make yourself ill, because it's not worth it. If you're not well enough to work in the first place, it doesn't have any bearing on who you are as a person. Being ill is a full-time job. However, if you do feel that you're capable of work, like, I wish you all the best, because it's so rewarding. It's difficult. I'm not going to lie. It is. It's really difficult. There are a lot of barriers. There are a lot of things that you figure out as you go along, and maybe we can talk about that another time. But it's so worthwhile. Like, I love the fact that I can work and I can earn an income, and I love the nature of my work, and just, I really, really, really hope that other people can have that too. And, like, be assured I'm doing what I can. I'm doing what I can to make it happen, and I will continue to do so. So I hope this has been okay. I honestly, like, it's been 28 minutes and I honestly couldn't tell you what I've just said. It all just kind of came out. But hopefully the blog post will be more coherent. And as I say, I will continue adding to the blog post. So if you stumble across something that might not be right for you, but could be helpful for someone else, please let me know and I'll stick it on there. Feel free to share the blog post. Feel free to keep in touch with me if you don't know me. I'm LifeOfPippa. So my website is www.lifeofpippa.co.uk. I'm Life of Pippa blog on Facebook. My Twitter is Life of Pippa with an underscore at the end, and my Instagram is Life of Pippa. So, like, feel free to have a chat anytime. Like, you know, I do my best to reply. Well, I do reply. I need to stop saying that because I always reply. It sometimes just takes me a bit of time. Yeah. And now we're back at the awkward bit, because I still don't know how to finish these videos. But I really hope this has been helpful. I hope you have a lovely Saturday. And I'm going to go and have a lie down now. Okay. Bye. Thanks for watching.